A lot more than just technical know-how to be a digital forensic investigator. There's a lot of research, processes, and analytics that also go into the case itself. Consider a scenario where you need to build a house. Sure, we need wood, nails, cement, metal, glass, and all the other raw materials, and we also require the skilled laborers and contractors to construct the structure and piece it together. Apart from the materials, tools, and resources, we would have also done our research to ensure that we understood what is needed for this to be a successful project. For instance, we would have had to obtain permits to build, performed a soil analysis, considered the weather, and then chosen the types of materials based on the weather, location, soil type, and so on. It goes without saying that there must be an understanding of fundamental concepts in the field in order to efficiently carry out the task. In the same way, we need to have an understanding of the file systems, operating systems, data types, and locations, as well as a thorough understanding of the methods and procedures for preserving data, storage media, and general evidence. In this lecture, we will learn about the following topics. Asterisk the history of storage media. Asterisk file systems and operating systems. Asterisk what about the data? Asterisk data volatility. Asterisk the paging file and its importance in digital forensics. The history of storage media. The end result of any investigation is to prove whether something exists or took place. In laptops, desktops, mobile devices, and smart devices, data has to be stored somewhere, even if it's just temporarily. Most of us may be familiar with hard disk drives within laptops, desktops, mobile devices, and so on, but we also need to focus on removable and portable storage devices. These include DVDs, portable drives, thumb or flash drives (ST), and microSD cards, older media such as CDs and floppy disks, and countless more. We should also consider that many portable flash drives come in many interesting shapes and sizes as novelty items and may not take the usual shape of the ordinary rectangular-shaped drive. Another issue to consider is that many of these storage media devices have changed in size over the years and may be smaller in size, usually as a result of evolving technology. Cloud storage has also cemented its place as a common and cost-effective solution, with many companies offering free cloud storage solutions between 2 GB and 15 GB to the average user, with the option to pay for more storage. Although not a new concept, cloud storage is here to stay, and with it also comes some challenges to data recovery and forensics, as we do not have access to the physical storage servers. Fortunately, many cloud storage providers, such as Google, Dropbox, and Microsoft, offer a service of temporarily holding deleted files in the event that they were mistakenly deleted or need to be recovered. IBM and the history of storage media. There can never be a story, journal, book, or even discussion on the history of hard drives and storage media without mentioning 3 letters: IBM. We're all familiar with this well-known tech giant, but we might not all be familiar with some of its great achievements. International Business Machines, IBM, as we know it, has been around for quite some time. Known as the Computing Tabulating Recording Company, CTR, back in the early 1900s, IBM is better known for building the very first hard disk drive, the first PC, its servers, desktops, and laptops. Between the years 1956 and 1957, IBM made major inroads with the development and release of the 305 Random Access Method of Accounting and Control, RAMAC, which utilized the first disk storage technology. This revolutionary technology weighed in at approximately 1 ton and was roughly 16 square feet in size. The disk space capacity of this behemoth, however, was only 5 megabytes. Megabytes, yes, I said megabytes, in size. Although 5 megabytes by today's standard is roughly the size of a high-definition photo taken with a mobile device, all things considered, this really was a monumental achievement for its time. Before IBM's invention, data was stored on punch cards, which could mount to as many as millions of cards just to hold a few megabytes. A major issue faced back then with the introduction of this digital storage was the size of the device. Transportation by plane and truck may not have been an option for many, and the space to store this would also have been an issue. As technology progressed, IBM announced a much more portable computer in 1975, released as the IBM 5100 portable computer. In the 1980s, specifically 1981, we saw the birth of the IBM personal computer. Weighing in at much less than its predecessor, this portable computer also had a much more affordable price tag of between $8,000 and $20,000. It wasn't until 1981, when IBM released the first personal computer, that the portability of computers was becoming an actual reality. With a price tag of $1,565, owners were afforded a keyboard and mouse, with options for a monitor, printer, and floppy drives. Apart from the floppy drives, this is the standard for today's personal computers. Along with this newer and more portable technology, there were also improvements in data storage media over the years, which saw advancements from magnetic tape storage to floppy disks and diskettes, CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray discs, and of course, mechanical and solid-state drives, SSDs. Movable storage media. Continuing on our topic of storage media, I'd first like to start by discussing removable storage media, as they play a role just as important as that of fixed storage media in today's world. Magnetic tape drives. Introduced by IBM in the 1950s, magnetic tape was an easy and very fast way to store data at a speed equal to its processing time. The IBM 726 magnetic tape reader and recorder was one of the first devices to offer this storage, with a capacity or tape density of 100 bits per linear inch of tape. Inch of tape should give an indicator of the size of the tape, which was wound on a large wheel, similar to an old film roll movie tape. With magnetic tape media, data is written across the width of the magnetic coated plastic strip in frames separated by gaps consisting of blocks. Magnetic tape is still very much used today, and like many other storage media types, has significantly decreased in size, while increasing in capacity and speed. To give an idea of how far magnetic tape storage has come, in 2017, IBM developed newer tape storage media with a tape density of 200 GePs per inch on a single cartridge, which can hold up to 333 gigabytes of data. These cartridges, for older folks like myself, are the size of a cassette tape, or, for the younger ones, not much smaller than the average smartphone, which fits in your hand. As of 2019, Fujifilm released the Fujifilm Linear Tape Open. Ultrium 8, L208, magnetic tape cartridge with a native capacity of 12 terabytes and a data rate of 360 maps. 30 TB of compressed data can fit on this single 12 TB cartridge. Floppy disks. The floppy disk, introduced yet again by IBM, was first seen along with its floppy disk drive in 1971. Although mainframe computers back then already had hard drives and magnetic tape storage media, there was a need for a simple and cheaper means of saving and passing on software and instructions to the mainframes, previously done using the much slower punch cards. At the core of the floppy disk was a small magnetic disk, which, although far more portable than magnetic tape storage and hard disk drives at the time, stored much less data than other media we've mentioned. Evolution of the floppy disk. Size, 8-inch. Year introduced, 1971. Maximum capacity, 80 kilobytes, KB. Size, 5.25-inch. Year introduced, 1976. Maximum capacity, 360 kilobytes. Size, 3.5-inch. Year introduced, 1984. Maximum capacity, 1.2 megabytes, MB. Optical storage media. Optical storage media is so called because of the way in which data is written to the various media types, involving the use of different types of lasers on the surface of the disk itself. Although it may be somewhat difficult to distinguish various optical disks if there are no default labels on them, they do have slight differences in color and hue due to the size of the lasers used to write data to them. Compact disks. Compact disks, CDs, are made of pits and lands noticeable as bumps on the underside of the disc, coated with a thin layer of aluminum, which results in a reflective surface. Data is written in concentric circles, further split up into sectors of 512 bytes, each known as tracks on the CD from the inside to the outside or edge of the disc. Diameter 120 millimeters. Type of laser used to write data 780 nanometer infrared laser. Maximum capacity of a CD 650 to 700 MB. The various types of CDs are as follows. Compact disc, read-only memory, CD-ROM. This disc comes with data on it in the form of programs, games, music, and so on, and can only be read from. Compact disc recordable, CDR. Data can be written to this disc, but only once. Compact disc, rewritable, CDR. Data can be written to this disc many times. Discs. Digital versatile discs, DVDs, although the same size and diameter, can store much more data than CDs. Diameter 120 millimeters, same as a CD. Type of laser used to write data 650 infrared laser. Maximum capacity of a DVD 4.7 gigabytes GB and 15.9 gigabytes dual layer DVD. The various types of DVDs are as follows. Digital versatile disc, read-only memory, DVD-ROM. The DVD comes with data already written to it, much like a CD-ROM. Digital versatile disc, recordable, DVD-AR. Data can be written once to the DVD. Digital versatile disc plus recordable, DVD-RR. Data can be written once to the DVD. Fewer DVDs utilize more advanced error detection and management technology. Digital versatile disc, rewritable, DVD-RW. Data can be written to the DVD several times. The DVD-RW disc differs from the DVD-RW disc in that the DVD-RW disc may be written to a bit faster and may also be compatible with a larger variety of DVD players. Digital versatile disc, recordable dual layer, DVD-RDL. The DVD contains dual layers resulting in higher storage capacities of between 7.95 gigabytes on a DVD-9 disc and 15.9 gigabytes on a DVD-18 disc. Digital versatile disc, recordable dual layer, DVD-RDL. Same as the DVD-RDL, but has been argued as having a more efficient format, resulting in fewer errors. Digital versatile disc, random access memory, DVD-RAM. Mainly used in video recording equipment due to its resiliency, lasting up to 2 decades, and the ability to rewrite data onto it. This disc is more expensive than other DVD formats, and is also not compatible with many common DVD drives and players. Blu-ray disc. The current standard for removable disc media, the Blu-ray disc, gets its name from the color of the laser used to read from and write to the disc. Due to the high-capacity storage of Blu-ray discs, high-definition, HD, content can easily be stored on Blu-ray discs, without a loss in quality. Diameter, 120 millimeters, same as a CD and DVD. Type of laser used to write data, 405 blue laser. Maximum capacity of a DVD, 27 gigabytes and 50 gigabytes, double layer Blu-ray. The Blu-ray disc BD, often known simply as Blu-ray, is a digital optical disc storage format. It is designed to supersede the DVD format and capable of storing several hours of high-definition video, HDTV 720 and 1080p. The main application of Blu-ray is as a medium for video material such as feature films and for the physical distribution of video games for the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. The name Blu-ray refers to the blue laser, which is actually a violet laser used to read the disc, which allows information to be stored at a greater density than is possible with the longer wavelength red laser used for DVDs. The polycarbonate disc is 120 millimeters, 4.7 in diameter, and 1.2 millimeters, 0.047 in thick, the same size as DVDs and CDs. Conventional or pre-BDXL Blu-ray discs contain 25 gigabytes per layer, with dual-layer discs, 50 gigabytes, being the industry standard for feature-length video discs. Triple-layer discs, 100 gigabytes, and quadruple-layer discs, 128 gigabytes, are available for BDXL rewriter drives. High-definition HD video may be stored on Blu-ray discs with up to 1920 x 1080 pixel resolution at 24 progressive or 50/60 interlaced frames per second. DVD video discs were limited to a maximum resolution of 480 NTSC 720 x 480 pixels or 576 lines, CCIR 625 50ths, 720 x 576 pixels, commonly used with PL. Besides these hardware specifications, Blu-ray is associated with a set of multimedia formats. The BD format was developed by the Blu-ray Disc Association, a group representing makers of consumer electronics, computer hardware, and motion pictures. Sony unveiled the first Blu-ray disc prototypes in October 2000, and the first prototype player was released in Japan in April 2003. Afterward, it continued to be developed until its official worldwide release on June 20, 2006. Beginning the high-definition optical disc format war, where Blu-ray disc competed with the HD DVD format. Toshiba, the main company supporting HD DVD, conceded in February 2008 and later released its own Blu-ray disc player in late 2009. According to media research, high-definition software sales in the United States were slower in the first 2 years than DVD software sales. Blu-ray faces competition from video on demand, VOD, and the continued sale of DVDs. In January 2016, 44% of U.S. broadband households had a Blu-ray player. For playback of 4K content, the BDA introduced a variant of Blu-ray called Ultra HD Blu-ray. Flash memory is so named because the data is written to and erased from using electrical charges. You may have perhaps heard someone say that they had to flash their mobile device. This is quite similar to erasing flash storage media on smartphones and smart devices, except devices with operating systems such as Android and iOS require a much more extensive procedure for flashing and reinstalling their operating systems. The end result, however, is very much the same in that the memory and storage areas are reset or wiped. Flash storage chips come in two types, known as NAND and NOR flash memory, and are responsible for high-speed and high-capacity storage of data on flash storage media. They are newer types of electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, EEPROM chips, and instead can wipe blocks of data or the entire drive, rather than just one byte at a time, as with the slower EEPROM. This type of flash memory chip is non-volatile, meaning the data is still stored on the chip even after power to the chip is lost. Data is erased when specific instructions are sent to the chip in the form of electrical signals via a method known as in-circuit writing, which alters the data accordingly. A flash drive with the NAND chip exposed. Flash media storage has so far become the ultimate in portability, with many types ranging from the size of your thumb to the size of the nail on your little finger. The lifespan of flash storage all depends on the usage, as they all have an average read-write usage, sometimes displayed on the packaging of the device. The read-write speeds are also some of the fastest at this point, which is why hard disk drives have moved away from the traditional mechanical disk mechanism to a solid-state one. SSDs will be discussed further later in this lectures. Important note: with flash storage media capacities ranging from 2 GB to 256 GB, particularly on SD, microSD, and flash drives, these can now act as very fast removable drives with operating systems installed on them, and can even be partitioned using various tools. Yes, indeed, Kali Linux most certainly can be installed onto a flash drive, SD, or microSD card, and be made bootable, with as little as 8 gigabytes of storage space. USB flash drives. The Universal Serial Bus, USB port or interface, released in 1995, has become the standard for all devices, replacing older devices that would have been connected to specific parallel ports on a computer. It's quite common to see almost any device or peripherals connected to a computer via a USB connection, including mice, keyboards, flash drives, printers, scanners, cameras, mobile devices, and just about every other device. The evolution of the USB port is shown. Here. USB flash drives come in all shapes and sizes today, from the standard rectangular to any shape imaginable. USB flash drives use NAND EEPROM chips to store their data, and today are available in various versions that define the read/write speeds of the flash drive. The following photo shows various flash drives ranging from the oldest to the newest, left to right. The first drive is a USB 2.1 drive. The middle is a 32 gigabytes USB 3.0 drive, and the last, right side, is a significantly smaller 64 gigabytes USB 3.2 drive here. Flash memory cards, like flash drives, flash memory cards, or memory cards, as they are fondly referred to, also use NAND flash memory, which, as we previously learned, is a non-volatile solid-state memory. Unlike USB flash drives, however, these cards do not come with a USB interface and must be used with either an adapter or memory card reader. Over the years and decades, we've had several formats of memory cards grace our desktops, laptops, mobiles, and other devices, including cameras, MP3 players, and even toys. Although I'll only cover some of the more popular cards used today, it is important that you are at least familiar with memory cards and are also able to identify them. The flash memory card types we will look at are as follows. Memory Stick PRO MSPD, proprietary card developed by Sony. Secure Digital SD. Secure Digital High Capacity SDHC, 2 to 32 GB capacity. Mini SDHC. Micro SDHC. Secure Digital Extended Capacity SDXC, 32 GB 2 TB capacity. Compact Flash CF. Multimedia Card MMC. XD Picture XD. Smart Media SM. Of the aforementioned card types, I've opted to show 3 from my collection in the following photo. The card to the left is a Sony Memory Stick PRO Duo. The card in the middle is an SD card that has a sliding lock to the side, used to prevent data from being overwritten, and the card to the right is the more common card of today, the microSD. I'd like to do a brief comparison of these 3 cards, developed at least a decade apart. The older PRO Duo card is larger, with a capacity of 2 gigabytes. Although not seen on the SD card, its capacity is 4 gigabytes, and the smallest and newest card to the right, microSD, actually has a hopping 64 gigabytes of storage capacity. Have a look at the following photo to see a close-up of the microSD card. It shows the capacity of 64 gigabytes and also the class of the microSD card, class 10. 64 gigabytes of data on something as small as a fingernail. Still, microSD cards are being developed with even larger capacities of 128 gigabytes and even 256 gigabytes. The various classes of microSD cards identify their read/write speeds and suggested uses. I do suggest getting a Class 10 C10 microSD card if purchasing one, as the C10 is much faster than the other classes 2, 4, and 6, and supports constant HD and even 4K video recording. Classes 2, 4, 6, and 10 support speeds of up to 2 Mbps, 4 Mbps, 6 Mbps, and 10 Mbps, respectively, and are known as SD speed class. Class 1 and Class 3 are known as the UHS speed class and support speeds of up to 10 Mbps and 30 Mbps, respectively. The newer video speed class, which is recommended for HD video in 4K and 8K, supports much faster speeds. The V10, V30, V60, and V90 cards support speeds of up to 10 Mbps, 30 maps 60 Mbps and 90 Mbps respectively. As mentioned earlier, flash memory cards require card readers, which connect to laptops, desktops, and other media players using USB ports. The following photo shows one of my many card readers, which supports compact flash, memory stick PUR2, secure, digital, and even the smart media card. Hard disk drives. Now that we've had a good look at non-volatile storage, including tape and flash storage, let's go a bit deeper into the world of hard disk drives, HDDs, which serve as fixed storage media. I'll try to keep things simple and short by focusing mainly on the knowledge necessary for forensics investigators in particular. HDD technology has certainly come a long way from the monstrous storage devices first seen in IBM mainframes and is now more compact, fast, and affordable with capacities in the terabytes. Although the newer solid-state drives use the same type of memory found in flash memory devices, they are still a bit costly when compared to mechanical drives. This may be, perhaps, one of the contributing factors to why older mechanical drive technology is still being used. Mechanical drives consist of moving parts, including platters, an actuator arm, and a very powerful magnet. Although it is very common to still find these mechanical HDDs in today's laptops and hard drives, they are much slower than the newer solid-state drives, which have no moving parts and look very similar to the chipset of a USB flash drive. In your forensics investigations and adventures, you may come across or be presented with older HDDs that can have different interfaces and use different cable technologies to connect to motherboards. Let's have a look, shall we? IDE HDDs. Many of the first PCs in the mid-1980s were outfitted with hard drives that used parallel, advanced technology attachment, PATA, and integrated drive electronics, IDE. Technology. As with all older devices back then, parallel transmission was the order of the day, allowing for very limited throughput. An easy way to identify older IDE drives is to simply have a look at the interface where the data and power cables connect to the drive. These older drives, as in the following photo, have 4 pins for power, which connect to a Molex connector separated by 8 pins used to set the device as a master or slave device, and then 40 pins for the IDE data cable, which transmits the data to the motherboard. In 1994, advancements in technology led to the release of Enhanced Integrated Drive. Electronics EIDE, which saw an increase in the number of pins for the data cable from 40 to 80, also increasing the transmission speeds from 4 maps to a possible 133 maps. IDE/EIDE was still, however, limited to a maximum of 4 IDE/EIDE drives per computer, as the jumper pins on the drive only allowed for 2 primary and 2 secondary drives set in a master/slave configuration. Consideration also had to be given to the fact that CD-ROM and RDO devices and DVD-ROM and RDO devices were also using IDE/EIDE technology at that time. SATA HDDs. In 2002, Seagate released an HDD technology called Serial Advanced Technology. Attachment, SATA, which used serial transmission instead of slower parallel transmission. While PATA drives speeds of 3366/133 maps, SATA boasts speeds of 153/600 maps. This meant that the lowest SATA transmission speed of 150 maps was faster than the highest PATA speed of 133 maps. The connector interfaces of the SATA drives were also different, but it was common at the time to see SATA drives with connectors for both SATA and PATA power cables for backward compatibility. SATA data cables are much thinner than PATA cables, as they only contain 7 wires connecting to 7 pins. SATA devices use 1 cable per drive, unlike PATA devices, which connect 2 drives on one IDE/EIDE cable connected in a master/slave configuration. The following photo shows an older SATA drive with SATA data and power connectors to the right and a legacy IDE Molex power cable 4 pins to the left. SATA still continues to be the standard today for drive technology for both desktops and laptops and has had several revisions as listed here. Speeds listed are in MBps, megabytes per second, and not MAPS, megabits per second. SATA 1 to 150 Mbps, SATA 2 to 300 Mbps, SATA 3 to 600 Mbps. The following photo shows two SATA laptop 2.5-inch drives. The one to the left is damaged and has been opened for us to see the circular platter at the middle with the actuator arm at the top, slightly positioned over the platter. At the end of the actuator arm is a read/write head, which actually does the reading and the writing of data to the platter. The drive on the right-hand side in the photo is actually a hybrid drive or a solid state. Hybrid drive, SSD. This is actually a mechanical drive like the one to the left, but also has flash memory in it to allow for faster access to the data on the platters. Solid-state drives. As briefly mentioned before, SSDs are non-volatile storage media and use NAND flash, memory in an array to hold data. SSDs have been around for quite some time. However, mainstream use would have been greatly hampered by the high cost of the drive. Samsung first released a 32 GB SSD with a PATA interface in 1996, followed by SanDisk's 32 GB SSD, but with its SATA interface. Although SSD drives use flash memory, the materials used are more high-end than that found in flash drives, which makes it the much preferred option for use as a hard drive, but again contributes to the very high cost. Some advantages of SSDs come from the fact that there are no moving parts in an SSD. No moving parts make the SSD more durable in the event of a fall or swift foot to the PC tower, as there are no platters or actuator arms to be scratched or struck. Also, the faster read/write speeds and access times greatly reduce the time taken for the device to boot or start, and even gives an enhanced experience when using resource-intensive software and games. As far as digital forensics goes, SSDs are still a relatively new technology that will be constantly improved upon for some time to come. It's important to remember that you are not dealing with a mechanical drive, and that data on an SSD, much like a flash drive or memory card, can be lost or wiped within minutes or even seconds. Although traditional tools can be used to image and recover data from SSDs, I strongly suggest researching any SSD drive before performing any forensic activities to get a better understanding of its workings and complexities, such as DIT shipping and wear leveling algorithms. Take note of the pin layout interface for the SSD connector, left side, which connects to a PCI interface on the board instead of the usual SATA connectors. The connector in the preceding photo is an M2O non-volatile memory express NVMe SSD connector type, but there are other types as well. When performing forensic acquisitions on SSDs, which may require the use of a USB adapter, be sure you know which connector you are working with. Different SSD interface types include the following: SATA 3.0, up to 6 GB slashes bandwidth. MSATA, up to 6 GB slashes bandwidth, found in older computers. M2 SATA, up to 32 GB slashes bandwidth. M2O NVMe, up to 32 GB slashes bandwidth. U2O, up to 32 GB slashes bandwidth, but not very common.